Hi guys. I went ahead and took this replay pack from Reddit's Cast It section, and I thought I'd go ahead and cast this game between two players, spawning as our Protoss in the lower left-hand corner. I give you Sgeht Delking. I'm not entirely sure, if I'm pronouncing the name right, so yeah, it looks like they're speaking a language that I don't understand. So yeah. I apologize, my European language skills are actually quite deficient, but in the upper right-hand corner we actually have our Protoss in the blue trunks. We all know him for his amazing performance at some tournaments. He's actually performed exceedingly well in some foreign tournaments as well, some non-European ones, and here it is, Grubby. And he's such a boss that he belongs to his own clan. I'm gonna try and ignore the dialogue that's going on. It's kind of a detriment considering I don't really understand what they're talking about. And now I cry. And now a girl's dream, I cry. Anywho, let's see how this game unfolds. Okay. Now we do have, of course, the standard play going down. This kind of, I'm talking about the gateways going down on the forward positions. Nothing too terribly unusual so far. Delking going ahead and getting a single gas. Relatively timely manner, slightly ahead of that of Grubby. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. It does allow one player to be just a teeny bit more aggressive than another one. Delking says, oh, okay, well that's quite touching. I watched your stream 30 minutes ago. Okay. Well, 15. At the beginning of this game, he did say it hurt. That hurts. I'm guessing it's because he's actually facing off against Grubby. I can't say for sure if these guys are actually regularly playing against each other, but let's just see how the game unfolds. Grubby throwing down his cybernetics core and a second gas now. If I had to guess, I would say he's probably going to take this into a robo opener, but of course in Heart of the Swarm, one thing that I'm seeing that's trending a lot in PvP is Stargate, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. And right now I'm going to kind of deprioritize the Twilight Council opener, although it is still a very, still very possible, if you will. I apologize for the stuttering. And behind that, it seems that Delking went ahead and took his own gas, and both players about even in the gas count right now. Of course, let's see, we don't quite have mothership cores on the way just yet. And it seems that Delking is going for another gateway. And it seems like Grubby's just saving money for something, and I'm thinking it could possibly be an expo. Yes, he's rallying something out. No, it's a mothership core. Okay, and now the probe is coming forward and going to the natural. There it is. Yeah, it looks like Grubby right now is going to try and take an expo. And we don't see anything too terribly deviant in the way of tech, and by deviant I mean something that you would have to push V to build with a probe. Grubby is taking this mildly defensively. I kind of like his play. Both players are actually relatively blind for the time being. If we just check and see what Grubby knows about his opponent and what his opponent knows about him, it's actually absolutely nothing. And the first Stalker is going to come in and see that there's actually a Nexus in production. Of course, the Stalker, the Zealot, and the Sentry will be more than enough to just, kind of scare him off a teeny bit. But Grubby's not moving out just yet. Alright, and in terms of tech, there it is. Delking is throwing down his Stargate. I can appreciate this play. Oracle play, Phoenix play. It's very possible, but now we have Grubby sending out a hallucinated Oracle. Interesting choice, really. But it can't use any of these abilities like an ordinary unit, an ordinary Oracle would be able to. And it seems that we actually have Grubby's Nexus at the natural getting into a dangerously low amount of health. Relatively dangerous anyway. And I'm pretty sure Delking is just thinking to himself, well, why isn't this guy attacking me? Blah, 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 this, that, and another. And, I don't know, there it is. Finally, Grubby gets vision of the Stargate of his opponent. So let's just see how he's going to react to this. He's kind of going into a defensive stance. His hallucinated Oracle arrived there, and it just didn't do any damage. So that basically cued his opponent into thinking, okay, well, it's just a hallucination. And if I'm looking into this correctly, then basically the entire reason why Grubby hallucinated an Oracle was not for a speedy scout, but to try and get his opponent to think that he was going to actually throw an Oracle at him at this stage in the game, and then try and get him to pull probes off the line. I didn't see that happen. And both players just having more dialogue and getting distracted by it. Workers now being rallied to the natural for Grubby. Both players actually relatively even in the worker count. Checking income right now, it's pretty close. And wow, it's actually 100% even right now. But both players choosing to get a bunch of Phoenix out. Of course, Delking actually leading in the count right now. Oh boy. No workers killed so far. I actually did kind of miss the Phoenixes going in there. Mothership Core and a few Zealots just kind of standing a little defensively over the natural. Not entirely sure just what they're capable of doing. These 3 Phoenixes from Delking come back home, and now they get rallied with their 4th Phoenix. And now we have 4 Phoenixes out for Grubby. You know, it's just almost amazing what the lead is like here. But behind this we have a fleet beacon going down for Grubby. So I'm a little curious, just what are we going to see first? Tempest, or are we going to maybe see him tech up to an actual mothership? You know, it's just so hard to say. I mean, I haven't seen a real mothership used in any competitive games yet. 1 Phoenix looks like it's going to bite the dust. It all depends on whether or not Delking can get that 1 extra shot off on it, and it does. So now we see Delking with basically air dominance now. And the Phoenixes are forced to kind of pull back here, and this is actually, ow, really bad for Grubby. He says, Grubby just says good. You know, you can take that like a sport. But now, you know, Grubby is forced to stay in his base a little bit longer. He's got a second gateway, excuse me, a second Stargate on the way. I'm a little curious as to whether or not we're going to see Kurt Russell pop out of that thing with an M16. Of course, behind this, both players are going for the Phoenix range upgrade. Grubby is slated to finish first. Both players going for, well, excuse me, not both, but just Grubby going for +1 air weapons. And he's really committing to the air tech, and I hear something a little strange. Can't quite place it yet. We can see that the Mothership Core is capable of being upgraded into a full-blown mothership now. And the Phoenixes are just making sure that there's nothing too terribly silly going down on the map. Yes, the Zealot here gets caught, unfortunately, and Delking does see that there is a pylon in this position. Phoenix range upgrade finished for both players now, and what's really going to make the game is just basically the micro, and there it is. Red Phoenixes from Delking really asserting their dominance over the skies, and I just don't know. I just don't know who's going to come out in this. Right now, one thing that can work to the advantage of Grubby is getting an Archon into the mix. And now the Phoenixes are going into the natural. A few more Phoenixes coming back to kind of hold, but Delking just kind of playing it careful. He does have the superior Phoenix count, so I'm a little curious as to why he doesn't try to do some harass. He does actually have an economic lead because his 3rd will finish first. Grubby, kind of stuck on 2 base for now. He's going for ground weapons level 1. And his opponent now going for air weapons level 1, air weapons level 1, almost finished for Grubby. Both players just really, you know, trying to keep the Phoenix count up. That is what matters the most right now, but I will say that Delking is floating up quite a bit in the way of minerals, and it looks like the Mothership Core has fallen. Poor Mama Ship. And if we check this Phoenix count right now, it is 14-9. And if Grubby runs his Phoenixes into these ones, it's just not going to end well. There it is. 2 Phoenixes fall from Grubby. And now that's like all the Phoenixes he has left. Zealot's getting pulled into the main along with some Stalkers. But unfortunately, there's not enough Stalkers to really make a huge difference in this fight. There's just a couple of Phoenixes left. So now we have to see, you know, just Grubby being meticulously careful. He's kind of forced into an all-in right now. His opponent right now is actually just cranking out a bunch of Stargate units. I will say that Grubby has a superior Zealot count, which means he'll be able to take the ground army of his opponent with relative ease. And Delking actually has no sentries. This is not going to work in his favor that well, but if he has Blink, which he does not, it might be a different story. Alright, so here we go. Stalkers trying to engage the Phoenixes. Guardian Shield going up, and we have some force fields going down relatively soon. No! Actually, they get picked up, and just as the Phoenix gets shut down, or just as the sentry gets shut down, it places down a couple of force fields, and this prevents Delking from really moving out and being offensive. Unfortunately, the biggest problem is Grubby does not know about the third. If he did, then, you know, he'd be in a lot better position. There's a handful of Stalkers in back. You know, the Phoenixes are up front trying to graviton cannon what they can, and now we have a handful of red Stalkers versus a lot of blue Stalkers. It looks like slowly but surely the blue Stalkers are kind of prevailing over this, and the Void Ray comes out just in time to try and save the main army of Delking. You know, Grubby, he's down in supply right now, but the one thing I think is working against him the most is the fact that he is completely oblivious to the third. Now he's got to focus on Phoenix production. The problem is, I don't know, Phoenixes versus Void Rays, my understanding is that Phoenixes are a better match for Void Rays, but the Void Rays are not coming in here to deal with any Phoenix. They're actually coming in here to deal with the Stalkers of Grubby, and so far Delking has a rather massive lead in terms of army supply as well as worker supply. You know, that's 71 workers for him. And Grubby threw away a probe to see if his opponent did or did not have a third, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, there we go. You know, in PvP it's so hard to tell some players apart. But I think here we won't have too terribly much trouble, as we're going to see Delking moving out with a superior supply count, and it looks like he's getting ready to put his offensive on. He's already moved out. He's turned down the forward pylon for reinforcements from gateway units, and there's a lot of Void Rays in the mix. And the Void Rays will definitely deal with the Stalkers with relative ease, but it's the Stalkers on the ground that are the real problem, because they are, yeah, it's an even Stalker count, and the Void Rays will be able to take care of the Stalkers of Grubby. And the Phoenixes are going to have to come in and do what they can to deal with the opposing Phoenixes from Delking, but there's just so many Phoenixes here for Delking. I just don't know if we're going to see Grubby able to handle it, and right now we actually see him capable of cranking out 3 at a time. Behind this we have Grubby throwing down the Twilight Council, but of course I don't think Blink is going to be ready in time for this assault from his opponent. Cannons right now would actually be a good idea. There's only 4 of them here, and they could... I don't know what to say just now, but it looks like we have Grubby forced to engage. All these Phoenixes going up against all these Phoenixes, and blue Phoenixes versus red Phoenixes. The Phoenix count is relatively even. Time Warp goes down beautiful at that, and it looks like we just have Grubby not able to hold his ground here. His supply just absolutely plummeting. He's losing the ground battle versus his opponent's Stalkers. His attack speed and movement speed both reduced by the Time Warp, and now we have the Phoenixes of Grubby just barely able to hold the third. And for now it seems that Delking is going to kind of pull back, regroup, and then try another assault. Probe comes out here and sees just what's up. And of course another Phoenix versus Phoenix engagement. It looks like Grubby is winning this one. But you know, so far it's 6 Phoenixes versus 12. His opponent has double altogether. It looks like those Phoenixes just kind of, I don't know, got mismicroed or something. Both players' supply counts are basically climbing, but right now on 4 base income to the 3 base of Grubby, I just don't see Grubby coming back from this. I mean, he's a pro player, no doubt, and you know, I want to say that he's in a tough spot right now. He's gonna have to have the best engagement. He's gonna have to have some AOE thrown into the mix. But speaking of, his opponent already has High Templar out on the map. And he's just now getting his own Templar archives. There's just one Zealot getting thrown at all this, and the Archon will make a big difference in the Phoenix engagements because just one splash damage shot from it will really do some damage. 2 Zealots going to town on that Nexus, and it looks like a forward pylon was taken down, one of Grubby's forward pylons. And Grubby's just kind of backing away into the natural. He's like, oh, great, I don't want to deal with this. And cancels the 4th base. His opponent kind of torn between engaging the 3rd and the natural. There's a time warp going down here, offensive, to actually keep Grubby from moving out effectively in time to deal with his opponent. And even if he did, it would basically mean a lot of trouble for him. And there's a mass recall onto this Nexus, probably a photon overcharge. And unfortunately, it looks like Delking was actually focusing it down. I do apologize for that misclick. And Grubby is slowly but surely losing the engagement. The Nexus has already fallen. Photon overcharge basically useless. Phoenix is picking up everything that they can here. Now it's 90 supply to 150. Grubby pulling drones, excuse me, probes to try and hold this. It looks like he's going to be able to take down all the Colossi. He does have some Archons here. And this is just a beautiful engagement by Grubby. Beautiful timing on it, but unfortunately now he has 2 bases versus his opponent's 4. Zealots, meanwhile, running by at the natural. It's almost completely mined dry. And if they go into the main, it's not going to do them any good to attack probes. Speaking of, they are being pulled off the line to try and mine at the natural. The Zealots just focusing down the natural. And it looks like we had some kind of a run-by activity here from the Phoenixes. 3 more Archons in production for Delking. And, you know, I think this is going to be the death knell. You know, we can see Grubby try and hold. He's moving out. It's 2 Archons versus 3 Archons and a bunch of Stalkers. 2 Sentries and a Zealot versus all of this. So let's just see where things go from here, guys. Here we go. Delking kind of engaging. Void Ray kind of targeting down the Archons. And the Phoenixes actually fly over on top of the enemy Archons. It looks like they were dispatched with relative ease. And now we're just waiting to see the GG. There it is from Grubby. Oh, he tried his best, but he just couldn't hold his ground. And I want to hand it off to the Sgeht team for some excellent performance. Is that Sgeht? I only took German for 1 semester in university, so please forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Okay, so if you guys liked what you saw here, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button on my Twitch channel. This has been Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.